Welcome back, everybody! Today we're going to continue What If Damon Was in Dragon Ball. If you missed the last part, make sure to click the link above to check it out. And if you want to have some cool conversations with me and others who enjoy this channel, make sure to join the Discord server, which is linked in the description. And if you want to just maybe chat with me or check out the memes I post, follow me on Instagram at Damon is here, I guess. With that out of the way, let's get right into the video. It's been around a month since the androids attacked, and me and the other humans have been adapting to becoming androids. I haven't returned to work in this time, since I'm the one who really needs help now, due to me not really understanding my own body anymore. I've also lost my ability to shapeshift due to my cells being manipulated so greatly. Bulma and Dr. Briefs have removed the bombs from all of our bodies, after I asked her to check for those, and now we can't detonate, thankfully. Lapis and Lazuli have been coming in too, trying to get a grasp on their new powers and abilities. Of course, Lapis thinks it's super cool how he's super powerful now, and Lazuli just goes along with her brother. Of course, Lazuli and Krillin hit it off during this time as well, and now they have their experiences with Duro in common, which will make their romance bloom a little bit earlier. Baby Trunks has also been born a few years earlier, and now we have another half Saiyan. And we also have a full-blooded Saiyan as well, since Miras went to Vampa and rescued Broly and Paragus, as per Goku's request. Miras brought up to the planet, and Goku greeted them with a full meal that Chi-Chi created. Paragus, of course, isn't a huge fan of Vegeta, and tried to get Broly to attack. Broly and Vegeta battled it out, and this entire encounter actually is extremely similar to the Broly movie, except Vegeta doesn't go Super Saiyan God for obvious reasons. Unfortunately, I wasn't around to use the Mentaru Buriku and calm Broly down, since I wasn't around and couldn't really sense the battle since now my Ki's all out of whack due to me becoming an android. But luckily, Gogeta was still able to fuse earlier and defeat Broly just like in the movie, since Frieza isn't around to make Broly go Super Saiyan. Broly was able to calm down, and Gogeta explained to him that he doesn't have to fight if he doesn't want to, and that he can be his own person here. Broly takes Gogeta's advice and decides to stay at Capsule Corp and find something he can do there. Paragus isn't happy that Broly is disobeying him, but Gogeta threatens his life, saying he better not mess with that boy anymore, or else he's going to have to answer to him. Paragus lays off and apologizes to Broly for pushing him too far, and Broly would of course forgive his father. Now, once I actually meet Broly, I talk to him a bit, and of course he's pretty uneducated on many aspects of life, and I decide to introduce him to someone who would be happy to show him the way of life, Gohan. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, Gohan hasn't been doing much in this story. And it's not because I forgot about him, it's just because he's had no reason to get into any of the big fights. He has been training with his dad occasionally, since he likes spending time with him, but for actually participating, there's really been no reason for him to. The only time he could have intervened was against the androids, but he had to stay out of the way and help protect the others, until his dad returned. But don't worry, Gohan is still insanely powerful, and he's very happy to meet Broly and show him the way things are around Earth, by traveling to different locations and showing him how people act. Broly and Gohan have become great pals and spend a lot of time together. Broly wants to repay Gohan by training him himself to try and get the wrathful form, which is something Gohan has wanted to achieve for a long time. And since Gohan is naturally gifted with amazing potential, it wouldn't take him very long to get this form, and he and Broly would spar occasionally in it. Broly and Paragus aren't the only people that Miras brought along with him either, as Zarmon and Dodoria were brought here and become sort of West City's heroes for hire, kinda like Luke Cage and Iron Fist for Marvel. They get called in to do jobs and stop petty criminals and whatnot, which is always fun for a brute like Dodoria. The two of course would become insanely popular, and kind of on the level of hero that the Great Saiyaman is in Super. The two actually prefer this in working alongside Frieza, and they're much happier now. The Ginyu Force wasn't that easy to convince to turn over to helping others easily though, and they're currently at a detention center in the Galactic Patrol HQ, reforming to become good. As for the larva Cell, Bulma was able to work her tech magic on that too, and reprogram him to become a hero. She was also able to make him grow much faster to his imperfect form, and Cell becomes a Z-Fighter. And he is also unknowingly the strongest out of all of us, due to him having all of our power and techniques. He is like a little kid, however, and doesn't know his own strength. He gets along very well with us androids, however, since he sees us as his siblings, due to us being just like him. Since everything seems to be alright on Earth for the time being, I decide I now need to fully become in tune with my new body, and what better way than working on my spirit energy? Yes, I'm talking about Yardrat. I mean, they can help you become more in tune with your body and mind equally, and this is just what I need now, to be able to function better in my android body. I invite the other androids along, since they need to find a good balance themselves. Goku and the others want to come along as well, but I tell them that they're needed on Earth, just in case something else happens. And I'll just teach him what we learned once we return. Now, normally I would of course have Goku come along, but now I'm pretty paranoid since the androids came way earlier than they were supposed to, so I don't want to risk it. Right before we leave, too, Cell asks if he can come training with us, and I wouldn't refuse his help, since he needs some training on how to control his power, so Cell comes along too. We take a few of the ships that the Galactic Patrol made us, and we make our way to Yardrat. Once we arrive, I meet up with Pybera and explain our situation to him and that we want to learn how to adapt to our new bodies and fully embrace our new powers. Pybera would see no reason to reject us since our intentions are pure, as we just want to help each other out. So, we all don our Yardratian clothing and begin our training. First things first, we train to achieve perfect balance in body and mind. Now, the mind part is already done for me, it's just a body I need to get the hang of. Meditation is especially hard for Cell, as he gets bored pretty quickly, and all he wants to do is spar and increase his strength. Lapis spars with Cell after daily meditation, and he's actually a good training partner, and Cell becomes closer with him. After weeks of spiritual meditation, we are finally able to gain access to our ki output again, and get our bodies moving the way they used to. For me and the others, this is great, since now that we have full ki control back, we're stronger than ever with these android enhancements. Infinite energy, and the fact that we're going to physically age much slower, will help keep us in our prime, which is huge. I'm even able to shapeshift again, thankfully. Lapis and Lazuli get used to new techniques they've acquired and show off tremendous power. Cell really didn't get much from meditation, besides the fact that he calmed down just a little bit more. The others believe our time there is over, but I convince them to stay just a little bit longer since the Yardrats have amazing techniques that will benefit all of us. We all start off with the basics, which is instant transmission. Now, I'm super excited to learn this move, as it's something I've always wanted to do in real life. And luckily too, we're all more adept at spirit sensing now, and can sense it in each other. So even though we can't sense each other's ki, we can sense spirit energy, and thus we're able to teleport to each other if need be. Of course, learning teleportation takes many months, as it took Goku a very long time in canon. We didn't just devote all of our time to that, however, as we trained in the meantime. All of us increase our battle power tremendously, way above where we were before. Cell is still the strongest warrior here, but in terms of skill, the rest of us have him beat. Just to have something to compare it to, Yamcha right now would be able to defeat Perfect Cell. That's right. Androids can become ridiculously strong with proper training, as shown by 17 in canon, as he was just doing light training off into Wilds and he was able to keep up with a suppressed Super Saiyan Blue Goku. So yeah, we all have insane potential. Here's where we'd stack up against each other. Krillin and Yamcha also managed to teach Lapis, Lazuli, and Cell how to use the Kaioken, which just increases their strength way further. After many months of hardcore training, we managed to learn instant transmission and can teleport back to Earth at any time we like. I teleport back to Earth to check up on everyone's training, and Goku and the others show me what they've accomplished. Goku and Vegeta power up and transform into Super Saiyan 4. I'm in total shock, as whoa, GT stuff can actually happen here? Awesome! Raditz and Nappa can't exactly become Super Saiyan 4s, but they've managed to achieve the regular Super Saiyan form, which is an accomplishment in itself. Once the two fully master the form, then they can begin their Golden Grade Ape training, and hopefully become Super Saiyan 4s. Broly and Gohan's training has been going very well too. Broly has adapted to Earth beauties, and he really is loving it here. He's become a radish farmer alongside Goku, and he's having the time of his life. He still can't go Super Saiyan, but Gohan can't yet either, and they're both trying to work on that together. Goku asked if I could spar with him for old time's sake, and of course, I would accept this. Goku and I battle it out, and I'm very impressed on how Super Saiyan 4 has made him so much more powerful, and I'm of course outclassed in terms of power. But I've got my own transformations as usual, and infinite energy, so I really can't physically get tired. Plus, instant transmission helps out a bunch too, and Goku begins to get winded after a while. Goku exclaims how he still has a long way to go, and I tell him that in terms of raw power, he's the strongest out of all of us, and he just needs to hone in on his technique some more. I suggested Goku that maybe he should contact Mirrors and see if he can train with him, as he's a pretty good training partner from what I remember, and can give him the skill he needs. Goku tells me he'll get right on that, and thanks me for the help. I return back to Yardrat and continue more spirit control training, and the next move is cloning. Tien obviously gets the hang of that right away, since it's something he's really always had, but all he needed was for them to be perfect clones, where they each share his power, and he does this in no time flat. The rest of us get it shortly afterward, and this just leads to better training. After this is Force Spirit Fission, which I know is going to be an insanely useful technique once Majin Buu shows up. This technique takes everybody a long time to learn, and I have an idea on how we can test it out effectively. I explained to Cell that Jiro originally programmed him to absorb 17 and 18 to reach his perfect form, and maybe if he absorbs Lapis and Lazuli, we could test out Spirit Fission and get them out. Lapis and Lazuli are totally against this idea for obvious reasons, but eventually I'm able to convince them that it's only going to be for a few seconds, as we're going to use Spirit Fission to take them right out. Cell tells him not to worry, as the last thing he wants to do is hurt them. Eventually, the two agree to have the fusion process done, and Cell absorbs the two, becoming perfect. Perfect Cell's sheer power blows everybody away, and of course his personality has changed too. He's more serious now, and less childish. He loves this new power, but due to him having mastery over body and mind, he is able to let this sudden rush of power not get to his head. Once we all recover from this tremendous power Cell gives off, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, and I use Force Spirit Vision to pull the two right back out. Cell reverts back to his imperfect form, but something feels a little bit odd to him. He can feel his cells altering themselves, trying to become perfect once again. Lapis and Lazuli feel fine, as they just saw what Cell saw in a dreamlike state, so being absorbed wasn't too terrible for them. Cell tells us that he can feel his body trying to become perfect again, and I tell him that since he was essentially made to be perfect, that's his body's true form, and it's just trying to get back to that. And after a few hours, Cell's body morphs itself back into his perfect form, bringing back his power and all. Now you may be asking, how is this possible? Well, the same thing happened to Cell in canon, where he was semi-perfect, but after blowing himself up, he managed to get his perfect form back due to plot, I guess. So the same thing happened here, it just took a lot longer. Perfect Cell's an excellent training partner as well, as he is a goal that we can reach for in terms of strength. With all of us gaining control over Spirit Vision, Gigantification is next, and while everybody else begins to learn it, I don't exactly need to, as I can transform my body into a giant already. So I move on straight to healing. Healing takes a very long time to master, longer than even instant transmission. The others finished Gigantification only a couple of weeks and moved on to healing as well, and Cell and Lapis catch on pretty fast, as I'm still struggling a little bit. But eventually, I along with everybody else are able to master healing, and this concludes our spirit control training. We are all now leagues ahead of where we were when we first arrived, and we all are now able to use our android abilities to their fullest potential. We all thank Pybera for the help, and we all instant transmission home. I now also realize that if the androids are already taken care of, and the next big bad is Boo, then we basically have a whole decade of peacetime. It's time to basically just settle down and relax now, and not have to constantly await the next threat. Now, I've gotten a few comments asking me if I'm going to settle down with anybody in the Dragon World, and as much as I would like to, look at that. I'm content with being by myself here for now, as I know that one day Fu will return me home. Hopefully. I also decided to take Kami up on his offer of becoming Earth's Guardian. I'd really like to this time, as I still feel really guilty for having a bunch of people die by not being able to stop the androids, so I'd like to be able to observe the world I swore to protect, and make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. Kami is proud of my decision, and he begins to teach me the ways of how to become a god of Earth. Of course, this also happens to be the year that future Trunks shows up. He arrives where he did normally, and looks for Frieza and King Cold, but he doesn't find them. Nobody else is around either, which really begins to freak him out. He gives up on sticking around in the wasteland, so he heads over to Capsule Corp to see if he can find some answers there. He can sense tremendous energies here, of course, and is startled to see some monkey men fighting it out. Goku and Vegeta are confused on who this is, and tell the boy to calm down. They revert back to base, and Trunks instantly recognizes them as Goku and his father. Trunks apologizes and says he didn't recognize them in that weird transformation. He then explains everything about the androids and the heart virus to the two. And the only new info they've gotten is the heart virus, as the androids already showed up a couple of years ago. Trunks is understandably very confused, and Goku tells him the whole story. Trunks listens intently, and is even more confused. More than 2 androids? Fusion? Damon? Who is that? After I come down to introduce myself to Trunks, I explain my story to him on how I interfered with the natural order of things, and thus, the androids appeared much earlier than they were supposed to, so my bad. And apparently, I don't exist in Trunks' timeline, as his timeline is the exact same as it was in canon. Trunks asked if I could help him out in finding a way to defeat the androids, and I decided that one of the ways to do that is to train with them himself. And that's where we're going to leave this episode here. We're heading off into a brand new training journey now, and I'm excited to see where that's going to take us. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Till we meet again, guys. See you later!